Welcome to the Kyiv Post video debate today about the topic of Yuriy Lutsenko's release and what that means for the country's relations with the European Union. It's my pleasure to present a panel of great guests to debate this topic. We have David Stulik from the European delegation, Olesya Orobets from the opposition, Member of Parliament, and Kateryna Zarembo from the Institute of World Policy. So the release of Yuriy Lutsenko coincided with the arrival of spring, to Kyiv at least, but the question is, has spring come to EU-Ukraine relations? David, if you could start off.
Well, as you might have heard, our representatives, High Representative Kateryna Ashton and Commissioner Yulia welcomed this fact that Mr. Lutsenko was pardoned. Commissioner Yulia also said it's a first but very important step. If we say it's a first step, it means that there are some other steps that still would need to be made by Ukrainians. But it's still too early to prejudge whether we have a real spring or not, because we called on the Ukrainian authorities and on the President Yanukovych to continue to address the outstanding issues of selective justice, as well as to demonstrate a progress on the Council's conclusions from the 10th December.
Mm-hmm. And Katia, what do you think about that? Is this a sign of real political will on behalf of the president, or is this just a one-off gesture?
I think in the first place it is a sign that President Yanukovych is capable of dialogue, whatever his hidden reasons may be. This is indeed the first notable step, and I'm not sure whether by May deadline we will count more such significant steps. But I do believe that more steps in judicial reforms are necessary. This is in particular mentioned in the statement of High Representative Ashton and Commissioner Yulia. Steps on judicial reform are included into the plan on urgent measures towards the European integration for 2013, but as far as I know, no significant progress on the measures mentioned in the plan so far.
Mm-hmm. And so, obviously, I mean, the report of former European Parliament President Petros Cox and former Polish President Aleksander Kwaśniewski is set to be presented next week. I mean, what else? Is there any possibility of getting anything into that report that would put a favorable light on Ukraine?
Well, of course, both presidents would note this last development. They have to, and we are very happy that their mission brought some results. Of course, their mandate was a broader one than just one case of selective justice, but this is a very, I would say, encouraging fact, which could and should maybe work as a kind of, as I said, first step. So both presidents got now, positive energy, a positive message, and we'll see whether the parliament would extend their mandate or not. But it shows that almost 1 year of intensive diplomacy, intensive talks has brought some deliverables, some results. So we will see how the parliament is to decide, probably in a very close time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And do you agree with that, Olesya? I mean, with a particular side note of, do you feel, as a member of the opposition, that the president is open to dialogue?
I'm really happy that Lutsenko is freed as of now, and I do consider that as a good sign. And definitely there are conclusions to be done out of that fact, both positive and negative. What about positive is that probably, no matter what reasons are behind the Yanukovych decision, as Kateryna already mentioned, but he did that step, and that showed that he's far more eager to cooperate with the EU rather than with the customs union, which is a good sign for us. On the other hand is that definitely this country needs judicial reform, prosecution office reform, and not just release of one who was politically motivated, persecuted. I mean, get rid of trying to imprison politicians rather than showing that one can be released and that's all what is needed. But on the other hand, I mean, on we should see the situation wider is that the appetite comes with food. I mean, the more steps we have, the more steps we would ask for, and probably thanks to the enormous work of Kwasniewski-Cox mission and thanks to efforts of all diplomats working in Ukraine and constantly trying to push this topic forward, probably we would have both judicial reform, prosecutor's office reform, and human rights reform.
Okay. And what about, so the other, obviously, very important, perhaps even the most noteworthy case, notorious case at least, is that of former Prime Minister Yulia Tymoshenko. And so yesterday at the roundtable about EU-Ukraine relations, Andreas Umland said that if only there is this photo in Western media that Tymoshenko, of her waving the hand while after being released from prison, that will correct all the problems that the Ukrainian political system, the reputation of the Ukrainian political system. Do you think that's enough? I mean,
not enough, but that would make a great shift, definitely, because she's not only a political prisoner, but she's a symbol. And she's one of the leaders of opposition, and obviously for her being in jail is something that captures us all. But what I would like to mention is that probably there should be other steps done as well. I mean laws and reforms. We should bear that in mind, that not only the destinies of two brave people, but also the destiny of the country as a whole.
I can only add to this that indeed, as what Andreas said yesterday, it was the impact on the public opinion in the EU member states, on common people who just read the press. But indeed, our agenda, or the points that were listed on the 10th of December, is broader. So there are not only the laws that just Olesya mentioned, but there is also first group of let's say, criteria are related to electoral legislation. So we are also very closely watching what sort of initiatives are going to be taken in this area, as well as how the elections in those 5 problematic districts will be carried on. So all these groups of facts are then going to be not assessed by the public opinion, with all due respect to public opinion in our member states, but by the representatives of national governments. And it's too early to prejudge any decision of the Council at this moment, because still there is a lot of time to pass or to go before this decision of the Council is being made. But what I agree with Andreas is that we indeed need to show some positive development, and any positive development brings hope, brings optimism that the time frame for signing the association agreement in November 2013 is realistic. So we need to see positive impetus, tangible results, and these sorts of steps are the steps in the right direction.
Okay. Maybe we can explore the mechanics of this, of actually getting towards a signature in November at the Eastern Partnership Summit in Vilnius. So many European leaders, including the head of the European delegation in Ukraine, Jan Tymbinski, have pointed to May as being kind of the final deadline to show significant progress and significant goodwill, so that there can be a signature in November, and if not, Ukraine could end up having this process delayed for 2-3 years. But what is so important about the May deadline, and why? How much can you get done by then? And why isn't June and July or September?
It's all related to the fact that we are a bureaucratic organization or institution. We have 27 sovereign member states, and as you know, our decision making is based on finding compromises, consensuses. So there must be a time to achieve that. So if we do a reverse countdown, so somewhere in the autumn, I don't want to give any date, but somewhere in the autumn, there must be a decision by the Council, unanimous decision to sign the agreement. For that, the Council would need a sort of a mandate or suggestion decision by the European Commission to give the mandate for the signature. And for that, the Commission needs to collect and assess a lot of information in these three areas. And this is what we are doing on a continuous basis every week. We are updating our, let's say, reporting on that. And why May? Because August, July, holiday seasons, there will be no time for, let's say, high-level meetings, diplomacy. So then we end up with June, and in June the first sort of discussion in the Council should take place. So in order to be on time with our, let's say, with the Commission's recommendation to sign, the deadline or time frame is May. And that's why this reverse countdown ends up with May.
And the Ukraine Cooperation Council is also due in June, so one more
reason why, yes.
Okay. Katya, maybe you can shed some light on what you think would be necessary to get this process into motion. I mean, let's think optimistically. Right now there's basically a couple of weeks left. Even if reforms are, let's say, launched, some laws passed in the first reading, some other positive gestures, do you still see a positive scenario playing out? And what would it take, maybe?
The truth is that, as far as I know, even the EU doesn't know the precise criteria and, let's say, points which you get for each criteria being implemented. So it's hard to say what is the critical mass of the development, positive development, that we need to get the association agreement giving the heads up. I would just like to underline that the release of Yuriy Lutsenko should be measured on a different scale as opposed to all the laws we have on the agenda and developments in the, let's say, in the bureaucratic sphere. Because the European, alignment with the European standards in legislation, this is the issue which we had with the previous president, with the previous government, which is on ever since Ukraine opted for the EU, at least on the legislative basis. Whereas with Yuriy Lutsenko, Yulia Tymoshenko, and other political prisoners, Ukraine has received a new problem which it didn't have, at least it was articulated this way, political imprisonment. And if it's fixed, it means one big problem, one big drawback, disadvantage of Ukraine's resume, let's say, yes, as an applicant, as an EU, possible EU applicant. So the biggest development which could be is the release, the biggest development which we could hope for as a push towards the association agreement is the release of Yulia Tymoshenko. It would, I believe, outweigh all the laws and bills waiting for being passed or implemented. However, since this is, in my opinion, totally not possible until May, or probably even not until November, it will just depend on the balance of power within the EU. This is going to be a political decision.
Okay. And, well, let's stay on that question of why it's not possible till May. The president has said that as long as the legal process is ongoing, he is unable to pardon Yulia Tymoshenko. But why would that really differ from the case of Lutsenko? Because a second appeal was filed after his release, I believe.
So this is the very point. This is the kind of dialogue that already started next day after Lutsenko's was pardoned. Because what is the big difference between Lutsenko's and Tymoshenko's case? No one can explain in legal way, because both of them were politically motivated. And of course there are questions. Before pardon of Lutsenko, we've got rumors that high officials from administration of president approached Irina Lutsenko, his son, or other relatives to write down a claim, please pardon him for health reason as blah 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 blah, and with the precedents set by Lutkovska that the official on human rights can actually write such a petition rather than relatives, because it's also a political thing that they started rumors that probably Lutsenko is not willing to write himself those petition, and he would stop your integration, and he's such a tough guy, why didn't he do that? I mean, with Lutkovska writing down that proclaim, everything is obvious. You do not need that handwriting by personally Tymoshenko or any other political prisoner. If there's a political will and there's enough international pressure to that end, something will happen in this country. And probably I do share in the point of view of Kateryna that not just in fact of adoption, any kind of law, but the real reform is something that to be calculated for rather than against us in the EU.
Okay. Now, looking forward, I mean, what can be done? One of the problems is that Ukraine's legislation is still extremely problematic, whether it's the electoral, the judiciary, the public procurement bill, which has already passed and which has been a big disappointment. And so, what is the role of the opposition in this sense? Because over the past couple of days, several ambassadors have said that while they sympathize with the ideas, blocking the parliament is not necessarily the right solution, because it stalls progress. But in that case, what do you do?
Okay, let us start with the problems we had in Parliament. Number one issue is that neither Party of Regions nor opposition has a majority, the actual majority. And last Tuesday showed definitely that even without blocking Parliament, they don't have an opportunity to adopt any kind of law without the support of the opposition. However, we had a common joint declaration on the topic that we will definitely support any law needed for Euro integration. And there's another challenge we've already faced last week, is that the Party of Regions can call this law as one needed for Euro integration, but is highly and extremely lobbyist type, and probably the eye of high officials from EU representative should keep an eye on what is really in that bills, because otherwise we will be just tricked like kittens. And about kittens, you know, it's not a good sign to call each other kittens and lose trust to each other, because when the majority, even not having a majority at all, trying to get them somewhere in Bankova and show off as parliament working, with no NGOs, no journalists, no representatives of opposition even counting votes, it's not a parliament working. It's actually the attempt of coup d'etat. So my point is that the parliament should start working, but the parliament is not only the decisions, it's procedures. And will Europe be happy with laws adopted somewhere on Bankova rather than done in a democratic way? This is a high question to be raised, and we've got an answer that Europe is not happy with the way it was voted. And thanks God, blocking once helped us with the victory we managed to get is the personal voting. It's really highly important, because previous convocation, well, one person voting for 10, and it's not a thing you've ever seen ever in European Parliament. So definitely, blocking the Parliament is not the best solution, and me being a woman, I'm not any helpful in any kind of blocking, just please understand me. But the Parliament is the procedures, and the Parliament is an ability to negotiate and to catch that compromise. And by escalating the conflict, we'll never get the compromise. And probably the mission of Kwasniewski and Cox reached their best attempts and got the Lutsenko free just because they were those mediator and those channel of communication good work. Probably our parliament is also lacks some kind of trustful mediator to rely on to get those solutions well. That's my personal point of view. Please consider that as well.
Okay. Katya, you want to add something?
I totally side with Les about the fact that parliament should work, and about the fact that in no way is our laws taken in all breachment of all regulations. Could these laws be accepted by the EU community as well? I would like to remind that when there was a parliamentary turmoil in Moldova, when the president could not be elected, and they elect 2 MPs for the election of the president, while these MPs could not be found, some EU diplomats shared the view that this is a sign of the democracy, because in Ukraine these 2 MPs would be easily bought. Well, I think that this turmoil which we are having now is of course a legislatory disaster, but this is a sign of the new quality of parliament. So this is a good sign overall.
Okay. David, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, our official position is that we of course hope to see the laws that meet European standards adopted. We expressed it several times that there should be an inclusive and participatory process for adoption of these laws. So it should be a broad cooperation between the majority and the opposition, as well as in consultations with civil society experts who also have a high level of expertise. And the only place where these laws could be adopted is the parliament, and I cannot add anything else than we have already expressed in our statements.
I think that's all we have time for today. Thank you very much for coming.
Yep.
And thank you very much for watching.